Hello, good evening, and welcome to tonight's episode of Call of Cthulhu, Masks of Nyarlathotep. I am Alex Xander-Rabitsky, and I will be your keeper of arcane lore for this session. You may call me the Keeper. Tonight, we continue our pulp action horror investigation through the world of the Cthulhu mythos. I am joined, as always, by my wonderful friends here at Internet Remix. We have Split Guardian.
I don't have any alcohol, so today we're busting into the emergency wine.
that uncorking was perfect.
That's fucking great. I am furious. There we go. Let's get some music going while that. Okay, thanks for the ASMR. That's enough out of you.
Glass.
We have Upgraded Moon, also known as Jordan.
I don't have anything funny to say, so that's all you're gonna get this time.
This is the epitome of comedy.
We're very funny.
Please,
A little bit of lowbrow humor never hurt anybody.
please laugh at our show. We have Bro Dingles.
Wait, no. God, I came slightly earlier in the thing than I anticipated. I'm so used to there being 3 people before me. I can't be funny on the spot.
Speaking of 3 people before you, we have Adwitz.
I've never been funny in my life.
Wow, that carried such a tone with it. Oh my god.
Hold on, I need to communicate this to the chat. As everyone bursted into laughter, Atlas was sitting there like, yes, laugh at my pain.
Took a sip from wine.
Pure deadpan straight face.
This is straight
Incredible.
lemon juice.
Drinks from lemon juice.
Harrowing. And last, but certainly not last, question mark, the end, Finn question. We have Kristen Trzynski.
I'm never funny on purpose, but everyone makes fun of me, which I guess is funny. So I think it works out.
Quite so.
Yeah.
And, oh, what's this? We have ourselves a special guest for this session, ladies and gentlemen. Joining us from his live studio in the middle of wherever he lives, we have the one, the only, Darby Cupid.
Oh, gasp and awe, everybody. I'm here. How's it going?
Goodness. Oh my goodness, it's a Darby. Oh my goodness, we're playing with him. And for those of you, for those of you who have kept up with our like post shows, which if you're watching this in the VOD or the YouTube upload, hey, after our live shows, we do like a nice Q&A post-mortem of the session, and you might have heard us talk about who Darby might be playing in past times. But if you're not familiar, you'll find out very soon. So we will welcome Darby. He'll be joining us for a little while, and we'll see if he dies. So, but if my estimation of what cannon fodder is supposed to be, he'll probably live. So, Anywho.
I called them cannon fodder.
Bob lived,
It was
motherfucker.
certainly canon, all right.
Anywho, with all this said, I think we should jump into tonight's game and explore where we left off, which, as I was saying, so previously in Masks of Nyarlathotep, as I will sigh every time I say it, the Disaster Gang, as they have named themselves canonically.
The 1920s disaster gang.
Well, of course. This isn't the 1930s, Kristen. The gang, having spent some time knocking around London since their arrival, decided to begin prying into some areas of interest after digging up newspaper articles from the salacious broadsheet known as The Scoop, looking into, among a few other things, reports of a painter in the neighborhood of Chelsea. This led to a uncomfortable encounter with Miles Shipley and his mother Bertha, during which strange things happened, and that's all I will say for the time being. After that, the group also met with, after that, the group went to the Panday household, hung out with Manisha Panday, the wonderful matriarch of the Panday line, and everyone got to meet Sunil's snakes, and Mason passed out when seeing the snakes and has now developed several phobias as a result, which is all fun and games. But after that, the group the next morning went to New Scotland Yard to meet with Inspector James Barrington to question him regarding his previous contact with their friend the late Jackson Elias, and look into this reported series of murders that have been happening in the Soho area for some time now. Barrington, hesitant to let foreigners in on official police business, told some details about Jackson's belief in the involvement of a cult known as the Brotherhood of the Black Pharaoh, the various 19 Egyptian murders, as they are so called, individuals in the Soho neighborhood who have predominantly of Egyptian descent, having been murdered, possibly by some kind of gang connection. And through all this, Inspector Barrington cautioned the investigators from getting in the line of fire, not to display excessive zeal or go gallivanting about England acting like, in his own words, cowboys. Additionally, you learned some interesting names: Zara Shafiq, the Blue Pyramid Club, and yeah. After leaving your meeting with Barrington, you set about on to the next leg of your journey. But that is not where we're going to pick up quite yet. We are first going to, I would say, flash back to the day previously, Sunday, February 15th, the afternoon of which we're going to pull away from the bustling metropolitan streets and foggy alleys of London, and instead go to Cambridge for a brief moment, where we find ourselves at the prestigious Cambridge University on a Sunday, no less, in the hallowed halls of this fine, learned institution, sequestered away in his office, on a Sunday, grading papers, a Sunday afternoon, we see a door, and the door has a name on it. The letterhead simply says, Terrence Gainesborough, Professor of Archaeology. And inside this room, Darby, would you like to describe your character as I switch the overlays to welcome you on board?
All right. Terrence Gainesborough, middle-aged man, professor of archaeology at Cambridge University. He's gone through some things in his life. Some very strange things that he'd rather not remember, but that plague him even now. The white streaks in his hair, evidence of some horrors that he's seen in his past. He's a very well-kept gentleman. walks very tall, is very engaged in his studies. In fact, they pretty much consume his life. Much more of a researcher than a teacher.
Yeah.
His not always the favorite of his students. He's kind of one of those teachers you have to get you have to get a grade from to get your degree, but he's not. Yeah, he's much more interested in the academia of being a professor than the being with the students.
Yeah, absolutely. No, totally. I love that. Well, here you are, Professor Gainesborough, in your office, grading papers on a Sunday, kind of just working overtime because what else are you going to do? When kind of in the midst of what you're up to, there's a knock at the door to your little office. The door pops open, just a random secretary of the Cambridge administration pops her head in and just says, Professor Gainesborough, there's a telegram for you.
Yes, give it here.
Passes the envelope over. You break the envelope open, you pull out the slip of the telegram. Alice, would you like to remind what the telegram says?
Sure, it was along the lines of God, I don't believe I gave you precise wording if I recall correctly, but it was along the lines of
yeah, the gist.
Hello, it has been a while. I being Kit, as well as Mason and Sybil, are in London and would love to pick your brain about a few things related to, your field of expertise. And also, it would be nice to catch up.
Yeah. Signed, an old, we'll say for the time being, friend. Yes, Kit Sullivan. Back from you. You have a brief, slightly uncomfortable flashback to Peru, but how does Professor Gainesborough choose to respond to this telegram?
He addresses the secretary. Yes, thank you. That will be all. And
she sees herself out.
He carries the letter, reading it to his thinking chair in the corner of his office. Just slumps down into it. Puts his hand to his head after he finishes reading it. Sweat starting to build on his forehead, and sighs to himself. I thought I'd gotten past this. Very well. He takes out a pen and paper and starts, writing a response.
Mm-hmm. Which, roughly, in the gist of what does he respond with?
Yeah, you're welcome to come to my office. We can discuss matters further once you arrive. Very cordial.
Yeah.
Doesn't give too much indication that this isn't something he is super looking forward to, but he's takes it in stride, I guess.
For sure. Excellent. Well, that is sent off. You arrange that to be sent off this afternoon, and you slump in your chair and wait for the inevitable. Excellent. All right, let's move back to our friends over in London. So, I will say that after your meeting with Inspector Barrington over at New Scotland Yard, do you want, you finished up in probably the late morning. Do you want to go back to your hotel just to arrange your affairs, or are you planning on just powering through some stuff today?
Sorry, go.
I will say,
No,
Kit,
it's okay.
No, I will say, Kit, on your behalf, since you are the one who wrote to Gainesborough yesterday, you would be aware of the fact that if Gainesborough responded, it's gonna be at the hotel. So if you had the desire to check in on that, that would probably be where you would get that information from.
Yes, that would have been the aim, as well as looking for a response from Pool too.
Oh, yeah, totally. Yeah, for sure. Okay. So, Kit, you're going to want to go check in on those things. And everyone else just going to go with him, or what do y'all want to do?
Well,
Just realized something.
so all my brain has managed is so if Sybil is gonna go see Tarrant, then she wants to get some nice wine to be like, "Hello, friend."
Aw.
That would break the ice. That's a good
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
yeah,
but you know, she doesn't know if. Actually, you know, I say she doesn't know they're gonna go see him, but she'd go get the wine. He's like, "Nah, we're gonna go see him anyway. Don't worry about it. He hasn't agreed to see us yet, and
In the area.
he's
And
in
also-
the area."
And also, like, now that, it's like now that you're once again in a civilized country, cough, cough, looks at America, you can actually buy alcohol again. So this is lovely.
Mhm. Come on,
Given,
James, we're gonna go select some nice wine for our friend.
Oh, thank God.
fucking fantastic. Sunil, Mason?
What time of morning is it?
Oh, it's late morning.
Okay, I was about to say, because if it's not like, because if you remember, we had to establish that Sunil has to reconvene with everyone in the morning because he stayed at home. So he's probably on his way to the hotel at this point. If he might be like there, but he kind of just like got there, so he might be checking in on what other people are doing at this point.
Okay, cool. And Mason?
I don't know.
Okay.
I might I don't know. I've been trying to think about what I'm gonna have Mason do, but I've been stumped. Me viciously searches through all the notes again.
Good.
No worries. While you're doing that, then we
I could
can.
have, I could have Mason wait for Sunil to get back to catch him up to speed for what's going on.
I'm pretty. Yeah, I was about to be like, so Mason, what is?
Didn't Sunil go with us to the police though?
He did, right? Thank you.
Yeah, I'm like,
That's why I'm
Sunil was
confused.
with us.
Yeah, that's right.
So.
It happened in the morning.
Listen, time is fake
okay.
and not a real concept, and we have a unit of measurement for it, but it is not actually tangible. Anyway, all right. So
Indeed.
scratch everything I just said. I was dead yesterday, and also
okay.
last week. So
Yeah, no, you're good. No worries. Okay, so you can take time to simmer on that and figure out what you want to do. I will, since Kit's going back to the hotel to check in on related information, and we'll go ahead and address that. And we also have Sybil and James going to buy wine. So with Kit going back to the hotel, let's see. I'll say that the first thing you do is you're checking in on the Pool situation. Pool would have gotten back by now since it's been a couple days, and would have, yeah, he essentially has he's agreeing to write that letter on James's behalf. By the telegram being sent, he said that he wrote it and he'll send it at his soonest convenience. So hope that helps. And then on the front of Gainesborough, yeah, you got actually a response telegram that arrived pretty late last night. They just didn't want to like ring you when it came in, so they got it here at the desk for you now. To which you can read that Tarrant has welcomed you and your friends to travel to Cambridge and confer with him in his office.
How far away is Cambridge by travel
By
from London?
By travel, I looked this up earlier, but I just want to make sure I get this correct. If you wanted to like just grab it's about like 60-ish miles north of London. It would probably by like car take you a couple of hours to drive up to Cambridge. And then by train around the same time. It would take you like an hour by train, 2 hours to rent a car and drive up there.
Sure, excellent. Well, since that arrived early this morning / last night, then might as well go at our soonest convenience. So good.
Cool.
Excellent. Wonderful.
Wonderful. Sybil and James, you buy a lovely bottle of wine on behalf of Tarrant. Sunil and Mason, I will now cut back to you. After the Inspector James Barrington thing, are you just going to go back to the hotel and because you can't think of anything else to do in this current moment?
Cause,
Yeah, I was.
okay,
it's
yeah.
either that
'Cause
or the
otherwise, the only thing Sunil really has to do right now is he has to do Sunil library time, which he always has to do, always all the time. But for in this particular moment, it'd probably be best if he went back to the hotel. Just oh, God.
Yeah, I mean you're staying in London, you know. It's like you'll have plenty of time to access research centers and libraries to look into things while you're here. So, you know, for the moment, you know, you can just head back to the hotel. Mason, you're welcome to do the same thing in light of doing anything else at the moment, since the group seems to be moving in a direction. You're welcome to do whatever you want. But for the sake of simplicity, I will say that by like noon-ish is probably when everyone is back at the hotel. Sybil and James having shopped for wine, Sunil and Mason back as well. Kit, I assume you catch them up to speed on what the deal is. Yeah. So James,
Yes.
you now know that, hey, so Lieutenant Poole is writing on your behalf, so he's trying to help you get your gun back from customs. And
Fuck.
and and so for Mason and Sybil, the notice that Terrant Gainesborough is willing to meet with y'all up in Cambridge.
Great, we're now prepared.
They say,
So is he. This is great news.
perfunctorily holding a bottle of wine.
She says this, but she definitely has like multiple. Like James is holding other bottles. They did not just buy wine for Taryn.
We got a white, we got a red,
It's
we
like
have a
a big
rosé. Just like
Bag.
We needed some for the trip.
yeah, exactly. Sybil
Listen, now that we're
Cordova
in a civilized
invented.
country.
Sybil Cordova invented box wine.
They're in barrels.
Yeah. Yes. So yes, you're welcome to converse on your plan of attack here.
Okay, well, I have the alcohols, and I'm very eager to, catch up with our friend, but, it occurs to me, last time I saw Tarrant, I started talking about scary things, and it kind of freaked him out, so maybe we should, work out how we're gonna do this.
Maybe with tact.
God, I never would guess.
I felt like
Right.
talking about ghosts last time was pretty tactful, but...
Wait, when was the last time? Did you see him since,
I visited once when we came to, check out the ghosts in London that one time. We swung by.
Right. You really opened with ghosts, huh, Sybil?
It's an exciting topic!
I
That's all
mean,
she
I was
guess,
very excited about the ghosts!
I guess it's a step up from opening with vampires, but sure.
Yeah, he didn't like the vampire topic either.
Yeah, nobody did.
Can't imagine why.
Who could have guessed?
Tragic.
So, I said that we had questions for him and that we wanted to, catch up, which that wasn't a lie. I do want to catch up with how he's doing, but when it comes to question sort of things, do we want to lead straight in with the whole, Brotherhood of the Black Pharaoh, death cult, Jackson is dead sort of thing, or
Might want to take it slow.
uh-huh.
Might wanna start with Jackson is dead. Just
Yeah.
to get that one out of the way.
There's no easy way
Right.
around that one.
Yeah.
I gotta rip off that band-aid.
Yeah.
Feel as though that whatever we do, the idea of, from what I can imagine, someone can generally tell when you are leading into something. So I'd imagine not stretching it out too far.
That too.
It's so I do believe not masking intentions necessarily, but definitely beginning in a more level manner, but understanding that mutually between all six of us who will be there, it's going to go into the more macabre direction.
Would it be worthwhile for us to bring the things we got from, Juju House for him to look over? Since
I
he's an
think that would be-
archaeologist and all that?
Yeah, I think that would be an excellent idea, actually. That would serve as certainly an icebreaker of sorts, and, well, otherwise, it's a hello, how have you been? Here are our friends, let us introduce ourselves. Then we can get into the meat of it, I guess.
Should we bring the books?
Yeah, I think so.
All of them?
I think
Why
all of them.
not?
Right? Kit, James, when he says all of them, he's looking directly at you. All of them?
I mean, if you believe there would be a judicious reason to exclude one of them, then yeah.
More for the sake of the man's sanity.
Oh, right. Right. I forgot about that one. Yeah.
What?
No,
What? Forgot about
Nothing.
good call.
What? Information is
Nothing.
information. I feel like it's important.
Nothing.
what?
Trust me.
Don't worry your pretty little heads over it.
My head made me pretty, but it is also worried about things.
I'm not worried about anything.
I'm worried about everything.
It's, so are we gonna get a car, or are we gonna go by train? Because we should figure that out.
Which way's faster?
About the same.
I like trains.
Sure.
Great.
Let's go on a train.
For old time's sake, let's go on a train.
All right. Well, then, shortly that round probably we'd ballpark around mid-afternoon. This day, Monday, February 16th, all of you hop onto a train leading to Cambridge out of London, to heading northward. The journey takes about the better part of an hour and a half-ish, with some minor delay. But a lot of you arrive in Cambridge, by no later than, like, I would say 3 in the afternoon. And very quickly especially because Sunil, this was your college town, you can very quickly find your way to the campus of Cambridge University, where you can walk through its hallowed halls and find your way to the office of Professor Terrent Gainesborough, whereupon, once you get there, Terrent, a polite knock at your door signals you have visitors. By now, this is after primary school hours, so you are, surprise, surprise, grading papers.
Mm-hmm. Yes, coming.
Who is gonna be taking point on the first one through the door?
My heart says Sybil Cordova.
Throws open the door. Terrence! Sweet! Hello! Rushes over. Hello! So good to see you!
I truly need to underline this because I think it would be a disservice if I didn't. This, 5 foot flat?
She's 4'11".
4'11". Sorry, I was
4'11".
being generous with the heels. This 4'11", just engine of chaos and disaster, who is visually the epitome of the definition, flapper. Who just flies in, fucking winter fur coat on, bottles of wine in hand, comes fucking wrecking into your office with just boisterous intent.
Terrence, it's so good to see you. Hello.
Oh, Mrs. Cordova. He does the does she go into the?
Oh, she 100% is coming to give him a big ol' hug and does the whole rich person mwah, mwah, kiss on the cheek sort of thing.
he does the whole thing where his hands are up and then he kind of awkwardly kind of pats her back. He's like, oh, I suppose this is okay.
Can I call second in the room?
You absolutely may call second in the room.
So whereas tiny chaotic Sybil Cordova runs through the room and tackles Terrent, James, big man, just steps in, bottle of wine in hand, gives him a knowing look as he walks over and just places it onto the desk.
Oh,
We've brought
Mr.
gifts.
O'Connell, you two are saints. Thank you so much.
That's the first time anyone said that about me. Amazing.
And then behind the two immediate entrants is the I have to visualize this truly as, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but I don't think I'm gonna be. It's Kit, Sunil, and then between them being like, is Mason just being like, hey,
there's a lot of noise going
I will
on.
correct you. I will correct you
Okay.
because Kit would be holding the door for everybody else.
okay, that's fair.
God.
That is absolutely fair. So another, another familiar face, Mason Allen. You are welcome to enter as well.
Yeah, Mason walks in. You notice he has a beard now, not like a beard, but like the boy's got stubble. Went from baby-faced bitch to stubble boy. So that's a surprise. Carrying a
Mr. Allen, it's been quite a while. You've grown so much.
So have you, little. and addresses
Oh,
like
yeah.
the sides of the hair. Realizes sets the books and stuff like down on the
Indeed.
table.
Next into the room, since this is Kit holding the door, will be Sunil. So for you, Taryn, I'll preface this by saying this is an individual that I see at first you don't like recognize, but there's like this twinge of like, do I know this person? Something about this person seems familiar. But Sunil, you can enter next.
Hello, Professor Gainesborough. You might not have remembered me. I took your class for less than a semester, but you know, I was there. It's nice seeing you again.
Yes, a pleasure to meet you again. I'm very sorry. If this was when I think it was, I was an adjunct professor at the time, and I must say I'm not the most present with my students. So my apologies for that.
It's perfectly fine, honestly. I ended up realizing that I wanted to do something else entirely, and it was just a whole thing. It's honestly, it's fine, really. It genuinely is. Like, the last time you saw him, I'm gonna ballpark this, because I believe it was between 13 and 21 where Sunil was, so he's 28 now. The last
Cool.
time you saw him, he was probably like 20 at the oldest.
Yeah.
It's like
Cool.
19, 20 at the oldest. So he's kind of just like he also, like, weirdly enough, has a streak of white hair in the front of his head.
Oh.
So
Yeah.
it's just the thing that is there now. So he's also not super surprised that you wouldn't remember or recognize him, because he's like, I'm a different person now. So
I have seen so much. Excellent. And then, of course, last, entering the room, closing the door behind you, I assume, the last familiar face of the gang, Kit, you can enter the room.
Professor Gainesborough, it has been a while.
Mr. Sullivan. It's wonderful to see you.
Is it?
To be honest, I was shocked to read your letter.
I will have to extend my fullest apologies for that. I have been in the country since, the last time we've spoken. I've just been a little, how you would say it, busy, occupied. I haven't come up to Cambridge, so, but it is, sincerely, it is nice to see you again.
You as well? So, what brings the lot of you here?
Mason kind of looks around to see, like, it's a look of like, who's gonna tell him.
You wouldn't happen to have glasses for this wine, would you?
I do, in fact. They'll have to be brandy glasses, but it
Fuck
works in a
it,
pinch.
glass is a
Glass is a
glass.
glass.
Pulls out,
So-
goes over to his little alcohol
Nothing.
sensor and
I-
pulls out some glasses from the
I
cabinet.
think I can say with full certainty that nothing feels more apt for the aesthetic of this group than drinking wine out of a brandy glass. This feels extremely correct and on brand for this group. But yes,
So,
pop the cork, pour some wine. Since this is the little office, there's probably a few chairs around. So
Not enough chairs for everyone in the room.
James
Chairs.
stands.
Are there enough chairs?
James and Kit stand.
Yeah, I would. Tarrant probably just stands or sits on his desk while he lets someone take his desk chair.
So,
It's
and-
Sybil. Sybil sits in the desk chair.
Yeah,
Oh yes,
totally, I can see
absolutely.
that.
Like, oh well, okay then.
Their feet up on the desk.
So while we shuffle for
Yeah.
the alcohol, Candace, typically blunt way, will sort of just bite the proverbial bullet. Professor Gainesborough, by any chance, did you receive any visits from our good friend Jackson Elias a few months or so ago?
No, I've not heard from Mr. Elias in quite some time.
All right. Well, that's
And you won't.
certainly, yeah, what James said. I'm not sure how far news would have traveled, but quite unfortunately, Mr. Elias is no longer with us.
Oh dear God, what happened?
Well, see, now that's. Have a sip of your wine, real quick.
Whew, I have a feeling I'm
Like-
going
like
to
a
be needing
big
a lot
one.
of this by the end of this evening.
We brought a lot.
Again, your saint, sir.
So, in terms of what happened, James looks around to everybody else as he speaks. He's like, I assume it's safe to say cult shit.
Cult shit.
To
As-
clarify, go ahead.
As to put it simply, from my understanding, what you knew of Mr. Elias is that he tended to run in certain circles and look into certain things, and eventually life kind of caught up with him.
I suppose that isn't surprising.
Yeah.
It's fairly recent, actually. I'd say a ballpark around a month ago at this point, in New York.
We were there.
It was. Yeah, we were. He was in the middle of research for his newest, or I guess most unfinished book per se, but he called us all over from, across the multiple continents, saying that he needed to meet with us all, and by the time we got there, by the time we all showed up in New York, what can only be described as, sort of nods a little cult shit happened, and Mr. Elias was killed by cultists.
I don't know what to say. It did seem like a road he was going down. I don't think any one of us could have stopped him.
No,
Mm,
man was downright unstoppable.
yeah, until the obvious. But right,
Yeah.
as for our business, part of it is indeed, like I said, a social call. It's been a while, but the other part of it is, well, Jackson left behind a multitude of notes and documents and such, and we're trying to trace him back to see what happened, and he was on the trail of the Carlisle expedition. It's a whole. There's a lot going on, and we.
Tarrant, I'd say that when Kit says the name the Carlisle expedition, your mind kind of like flashes back like 6 years ago to like 1919. You do remember the very widely publicized at the time Carlisle expedition, spearhelmed, by a wealthy playboy from America, some influential an influential figure in Egyptology, Sir Aubrey Penhume, based out of London, got involved with the expedition as well, and they went to Egypt. You remember hearing, a very ill-fated kind of expedition. They all got murdered in Kenya in some kind of native uprising. And yeah, it's in the academia community. It's kind of in certain circles served as that underlining of this is what happens when rich boys try to play archaeologist. This is an ill-fated expedition. So when Kit says the name, it's like one of those things like, oh yeah, I fucking remember that from the papers. Yeah. So continue.
But yes, he was convinced he had some sort of a lead. He had a lot of documents. He was following the Carlisle expedition. There was something along the lines of meeting up with supposed members of the Carlisle expedition long after, well,
It was in Jackson's will. He asked us to continue his research.
Well, that would explain it, wouldn't it?
About the long and short of it, yeah.
So, judging by the literature you brought with you, you have need of my expertise.
Among other things, yes.
Did we bring all the books?
I think you agreed that you left behind the human skin book.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
I think that one got left behind.
Sybil reached for it, and then Jim's just like, no. Why not? It's just a leather book.
Don't worry about it. Just don't worry about it.
Okay.
One of these days
It's not. This book it's fairy tales. It's not important.
I like fairy tales. Picks up book. What the fuck? No, I'm kidding.
No.
Feels oddly familiar. Oh.
God.
But anyways, yes, back in the scene.
Sorry.
Goodness.
We've run into plenty of literature at this point, and it does need a more keen eye than I believe any of us have specifically. So
We also have some artifacts. Some very interesting artifacts.
Mason begins kind of taking the things out of the bag, just like setting the books out. Did we take the death mask with us, the one that almost killed Mason?
Presumably yes.
Yeah.
I think so. And when he takes that mask out, James very bluntly points at it and says, "Don't wear that."
It's bad news. Trust me.
Oh, I wouldn't think to wear that in a second.
Yeah,
It's like the golden. Well,
the mask that is pulled out, by the way, it's a very strange looking thing. It is like this carved, visibly African in origin mask with these four hideous faces perched atop, and it's this kind of woven basket facial covering with a noose necktie. Yeah, the wood, it's made from some sort, it's got reed, feather, fabric. It's made out of some kind of porous wood. So it's very strange looking, and then a number of books, and also I assume the other artifacts you lay out that you got from
the Atlantean headband and stuff.
which is just such a stupid fucking sentence.
You know the Atlantean headband that my character recognizes has Atlantean on it because he just knows that for some reason.
Mason, why do you know Atlantean literature? Nah.
God told me.
We BS so much stuff with Mason about random Greek shit at this point that it just
Yeah.
Sure, fuck it.
Yeah, like so, Taryn, from your perspective, in terms of the artifacts, they lay out like like a burnished copper bowl, some kind of African carved scepter, a very strange like gray metal headband, and that's roughly it in terms of the artifacts. And then there's the hideous looking mask,
Yeah.
and then let's see, you brought all but the human skin book, so that is 1, 2, 4. That's 4 books. No, 3 books, I believe. Yeah. Which then the 3 tomes that are presented to you seem to be varied in their age and size. You can see books here that's like, one looks like an extremely like more recent like kind of like quarto volume like poetry book almost. The other 2 are like visibly much older. You would reckon like one of them is like 15th century, the other one's like 13th century, so like the pages are like yellowing and clearly older looking books. But they lay these items out for you on your desk. I would say, by the way, that of all the various things that you have before you here, I'm just looking really quickly at what you, Terrence Gainesborough, are good at. Which is to say, yeah, actually most of these things are elude your specialization. So it's like, most of these things you don't recognize anything.
James dodges.
James just dodges out the window, just jumps out really quick.
God.
I was scrolling.
Leaps out the fucking window.
I was scrolling with a
he failed
trackpad.
this
One of the
dodge. He
classic
just went all the
blunders.
way out.
Incredible.
Babe, what are you doing?
I don't know.
Duty calls, I gotta go.
Yeah, so most of these, Terry, you can already just tell right off the bat that most of the things that they're laying out in front of you in terms of the artifacts fully like elude your speculation because they just simply don't have like a lot of things that you're like super familiar with. Like the African scepter has what looks like Egyptian hieroglyphics on you, and that's not really your line of, you can't really read hieroglyphs. However, if you want to take a crack at looking at that weird hideous mask thing, you're welcome to give me an archaeology roll.
Cool. All right, let's do that.
Hey, look at him.
Damn, a 91 in archaeology. Fuck.
Smart man.
Fuck.
Yeah, fuck, dude.
Smart, not strong.
Yes. Yeah. So what? You're not by any means a man who's. Your specialization is rocks. You are you specialize in the world of geology. So like the quality of the wood fully eludes you. Like it's strange, it's porous, but yeah, like if you had like looking at this mask, this very strange, hideous mask that they've laid out before you, if you had to pin down its origin just based on its look alone, you'd probably speculate this to be originating in the Congo region of Africa. But beyond that, everything on this table eludes your scope and your specialization. The books, however, one of them is the volume of poetry written in English, seems to just be a collection of various poems. And then the older books, the 15th century one, is you can tell by opening it, this thing is written in like old English. So it's like that old Middle English. So it's very, very, very large words that are spelled funky. Ye old, all that fun stuff. That one is written in English, though. The other one is written in like Old French, so it's which you can just tell. Both of these, I'd say that just because of how high your occult skill is. The most you could glean from these from like a cursory examination, short of like actually reading them in depth yourself, is that these 2 older books definitely seem to be they very much match the kind of like occult relevance of older, texts. These seem to be a mix of like lore tomes and like occult, spellcraft and esoterica. You can't read the French book because you can't read French. But that does seem to line up spaces by the way the book is composited. Very much has that. This is a very in-depth occult text that is actually probably of vastly more occult relevance than the 15th century book, than the one that's in English. The one that's in French, you can just tell by appearance alone, that is packed with probably more esoterica and spellcraft.
Okay.
Yeah, and you can relay your findings, which to say are extremely little. Like you do find yourself kind of stymied by this because it's strange. It captivates your interest, and you are more than a little disturbed looking at it. But it's for lack of a better word, it is kind of alien to you. Just kind of looking at this from a cursory glance.
Well. Just the most cursory of observations. I can assume that this mask comes from the Congo region. I couldn't tell you what kind of wood it's made out of, though. This is the strangest thing. It has an eerie look to it for sure. The scepter and the bowl. I don't know hieroglyphics, unfortunately.
And Darby, actually, could you make there's a thing called a knowledge, an idea roll and a knowledge roll. I want to ask you to make an idea roll. Can you just click your intelligence score?
Yeah. Shoo-bity-doo. There you go.
Extreme success.
Oh,
Cool.
Like in regards to the scepter with the hieroglyphs on it, what you don't read hieroglyphs, but what comes to mind for you is like, well, hey, the library at Cambridge, possibly could be of use, but then it also pings in your head like, well, I mean, since you mentioned the expedition earlier, it's kind of like this pops in your thought process. You do know, you're familiar because actually some work has come through the college as well.
All right.
Before he died, Sir Aubrey Penhew, the late Egyptologist, is known for establishing the Penhew Foundation, a facility that deals a great amount in actually Egyptology, and you do get the idea. It's like, well, I mean, you could probably get this looked into at the Penhew Foundation back in London. So you get the idea that idea certainly comes to your mind since they specialize in like hieroglyphics and all that kind of that lore. So that idea pops in your head.
Cool. Well, I can't read anything on the scepter, but come to think of it, a colleague of mine, Sir Aubrey Penhew from London, might be able to translate this for us.
Well, Penhew, Penhew is dead, but but the foundation, I got you. No worries. The foundation, yeah.
As for the bowl, I don't think I can glean anything from this one. Now these books. This one written in English. That there some occult texts are present in here, and this French one. My French is a little bit rusty, but it has all of the markings of something very deep and dark and like rituals and spellcraft of the occult.
We have Sunil's gonna like pick at two things at once. First, he's gonna be like, Aubrey Penhew Foundation. That has come up once again. That is a direction we were going to go in. So good to know that is. And second thing he'd ping is, we did do a cursory glance of the books, to a certain extent. It's very interesting from what I've because I feel like at this point they would relay what they have like skimmed over.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm gonna scroll up in the thing and try to remember what day.
Yeah, no
The
worries.
Carlisle. Hold on. I believe it was December 11th of 2020. The Carlisle estate. It was either that or the one right after that. Says things out loud.
Yeah, it should till end of the 6th.
There we
Sixth
go.
episode.
Neat. So, there was Sybil goes through these books. The Narcotic Scrolls, which had place for comes for the book, annotations in pencil in the first and third of the book. Mason and Sunil read this one, so it was they did end up finding spells in it. That was interesting. There was a parchment bundle. Wait, which one was the skin book? Oh yeah, the Life as a God was the skin book.
Yeah, which is the one we did not bring.
Correct.
We could mention that we have it and just not mention that there is human skin on it.
I mean, only 2 people here know it's human skin.
Yeah.
So
Just very casually, we have another book bound in leather that we could have you look at, but it's mostly more. It's kind of a journal-esque fairy tale thing.
Half diary, half ramblings, practically.
Good.
I suppose I could take a look at that for you.
You know, God, I wish I could suggest this, but Sunil doesn't know that the book has human skin on it. Because he was just gonna be like, you know, you could, since you already, you know, both of you already know there's human skin on it, you could transcribe some of it, like if you, whatever you could read, so that anybody else that wanted to get this information could actually read it and not have to deal with the human skin. The French one, Selections de Livre Divin. The White Letter, Amongst the Stones, was to Roger Carlyle.
That was the poetry.
That was the poetry. English seems recent. It's a collection of poems by Justin Jeffrey. No meter, no theme. Very, very horrific imagery, honestly. It's I actually, if I remember, we looked into Justin Jeffrey, and that was the thing that we were going to have to like look more into in London. If we wanted to know more about what went on with him. Like, I feel like at this point, Sunil would. I apologize for him, but he is basically just taken over the conversation. So
That's fine. That's all right.
Go for it.
totally valid.
He would basically explain at this point that Justin Jeffrey was one of those artists not immediately appreciated for his very out there work. Which I now have to remember what episode we read this. Thank you for making the one note in the first place, but like part of me's kind of just like, I gotta remember what episode we read this thing in so I could just read it again. God.
Wait, which thing are you trying to read?
We looked into the author of Amongst the Stones, and we got a little bit more information on him.
Right, the poet. Yeah,
the poet. That is a lead that I intend to follow.
Indeed. Yeah, but generally, and I can summarize this in general, just going through things. A lot of what's being discussed here is, Tarrant, you kind of realize, and you know, that a lot of this is immediately outside of your current grasp on academia, and so I mean, obviously it's like, oh well, you came all this way, but you know, you being a man who's existed in the academia circles for a while, it's like certainly you got like plenty of ideas of where, you know, folks can like go and like help in your, you know, you help with research. I will let you decide how you feel about this, Tarrant. I'd say that certainly, though, because it feels like it would naturally come out of this conversation. The idea does sit with you that, like, well, they have a book in London, they're researching things. by all accounts, it does seem like they're kind of floundering a bit. The idea does strike you of, should I help them? Should I take an extent? Like, you've been working here at Cambridge for, like, throwing yourself into work for how long? When is the last time you truly, like, stopped working and actually indulged in something that wasn't research papers of students who only half listen to your lectures anyway?
Yeah. Well, it seems we're at somewhat of a crossroads here. I suppose me more than you lot.
I suppose so. I'll be honest. I don't know about everybody else, but I know what I was hoping to ask of you. And it's mostly for help finding out more information about this, finding out, pinpointing where we need to go next.
You know, yes.
Atlas, you had your hand raised, yeah.
Think
Yes,
of it
Mr.
as
Sullivan.
purely a consultant role. It's not like we have any de Mendozas after us this time. It's just sort of a point us in the right direction, or even a direction at this point.
Not being tailed by deadly thugs certainly does make this decision somewhat easier.
Right.
Yep. Totally.
You know, when I received your letter, Mr. Sullivan, I immediately fell into that chair. I'm fearing that this request might come to me. But in the time that you've all been here, I can't help but feel I don't know what to call it. A sense of, I don't know, maybe it's adventure. I've been working here at Cambridge for the past, too many years. I never take time for myself. It's always research. It's always grading papers, teaching class. I think I might be long overdue for a vacation. For a holiday.
A hell of an itch, isn't it?
Yes, it is, Mr. O'Connell.
He raises a glass to that.
Sláinte.
I didn't want to undermine the moment, but I do have to comment, as I am wont to do, when Darby, as Terran said, "Hi," collapsed into that chair right there. I immediately picture that that's the chair Mason's sitting in, and he just kind of like look down like, oh shit, like.
It's actually the chair that Sybil's sitting in.
No,
Sybil's
Sybil
sitting
the
in
desk
chair.
chair.
It's
This is the
chair.
window chair. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, is
In
this
my
the thing? This is the thinking chair?
Yeah. That's the one.
Blue Skidoo, we can too.
I was about to say, I was about to say, do you pull out notebook and
God. Well, you raise your glasses, you cheer, and you toast.
Cheer.
Anything
Now,
else?
I must say that
Yeah, go ahead.
some of the knowledge of these artifacts and texts exceed my expertise, but I do have some connections where if you'll have me, where we will be going.
I got chills. Hold on, I just got chills. Continue.
Yes, the Pinhue Association should be able to help us in London. In regards to this seemingly Egyptian scepter. And I would like to see this other book you've left. It's your quarters in London.
And well, if you happen to know anyone who speaks an archaic form of French, there's that too.
Oh, I think
I
that
would-
like being a professor, you have to have contacts who are able to do that. That just makes sense that somebody speaks archaic French at Cambridge. Yeah.
But of course.
We are willing to grease the wheels with money if necessary. I desperately want to know what this book says. And by we, I mean me. I will pay for it.
Oh, that won't be necessary. In the time that I've worked here, I've garnered a number of favors from one or two colleagues, including our linguistics professor.
Ooh.
Right on.
Right on.
I'll ask you actually just for the purposes of that being brought up for the group then. Is this the kind of thing where you would like to leave the French book with this linguistics professor to have it be translated on your behalf? And like it would take some time to get like essentially what I'll say that you would get from this is it would take a long time. It wouldn't be the entire book translated for you in a quick amount of time, but you would essentially be able to, through this linguistics professor, get the equivalent of the knowledge of a skim reading of the book, just so you're aware of what's inside of it without like necessarily having it full translated for you. That would probably take some time. I would ballpark it around like a week or two between the professor's things of just being able to get the gist for you. If that's the thing you want to do, then you're more than welcome to leave the book up at Cambridge to be looked at.
All right.
I'm okay with that.
Cool. Yeah, that sounds cool.
It's useless to us otherwise. We can't read it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Just please note these books are incredibly expensive. They're quite rare. So please, make sure they're aware. Like Sybil's like looking at these like, I love these books. I love
course.
these horrible things.
Don't want to see any penmanship on the books. There will be issues.
Some notes in the margins.
God.
No notes aside from the notes already in it, please.
If there are
Tell me if
any
somebody
notes, they
puts
will
their
be
fucking
on a
initials
separate
in my
piece of
book.
paper.
Of course.
If there are
Yes.
any notes at all, they will be on a separate piece of paper.
Very nice. Very nice indeed. Well, with that said, any other things on the docket, or are you all feeling pretty comfortable to start your, if you want to start back to London and then Professor Gainesborough, you could probably hit the first train tomorrow morning once you pass it through university administration that you're taking some time off.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Rest of the group.
Plan.
All
I
right.
will say that
Yeah.
to a certain extent, Sunil is lollygagging, but like,
Yeah. I mean, you gotta fucking, it's your old stomping ground. You gotta
stomping ground.
hit a pub up in the area. Like,
That's where they took that's where they put the fake skeleton in the middle of the courtyard. His name was Mr.
Oh.
Bones.
oh dear God. I just
Totally.
had the fucking bone shattering feeling of like, I was like, oh yeah, it's my old college town. Let me go to like a pub that I like to go to when I was, oh God, I'm so old.
I'm so old. No, Sunil started going to Cambridge at 16. So
Yeah.
like,
He's like all these like fucking like students at this pub. You're like, oh God, I'm so old. Like,
oh God, they think I'm also a student because I look like
I gotta
is a question.
say, I gotta say, James is 2,000% here for watching Sunil go around his old stomping.
Yes.
well, then I will say then, under those circumstances, I think it's reasonable to say that the majority of the day is then held with Sunil showing you lot around Cambridge and the rest of you absorbing his joy, while Professor Gainesborough goes about the process of getting his affairs in order so that he can hit a train first thing in the morning. If you guys want to head back to London tonight, you can, since you don't have, unless you want to secure lodgings for the evening up in Cambridge.
I mean, you're also like an alumnus, so if you want to use the Cambridge Library, like,
Library, I mean, researching will take longer than the rest of the time you would have available to you in the day from now on. Like, it is, you guys get, because that meeting with Professor Gainesborough took some time, it would be like, you're going on like 4 or 5 in the evening by
Right, and they
now.
would have closed at about 6, 7.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Really, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
So you really couldn't get much in the way of library research done at this hour, and plus it would take you longer than you have available for you at the moment. Well, I mean, again, plenty of avenues in London once you get back there.
good.
I think we're good.
Yeah.
Cool.
Anything else? I hold for comments. Nope. All right. Then yes, after a delightful few hours of watching Sunil around his old stomping grounds, everyone can hit the train back to London, find their way back to their accommodations for the evening. You can rest up, and get yourselves ready for the next day, which Professor Gainesborough, following the next morning, you can hop on the earliest train bound for London, and you can meet with the group at their lodging. I think, honestly, let's take a 10-minute, like a break 10 minutes early. It feels like a good place of being like, nice beat. So we'll be right back, everybody. Don't go anywhere. We are going to continue this after a brief break. So stay tuned, everybody.
The Rime of the Ancient Mariner by Samuel Taylor Coleridge. Part 3. There passed a weary time, each throat was parched and glazed each eye. A weary time, how glazed each weary eye. When looking westward I beheld a something in the sky. At first it seemed a little speck, and then it seemed a mist. It moved and took at last a certain shape I wist. A speck, a mist, a shape, I wist, and still it neared and neared, as if it dodged a water sprite. It plunged and tacked and veered. With throats unslaked, with black lips baked, we could nor laugh nor wail. Through utter drought all dumb we stood. I bit my arm, I sucked the blood, and cried, "A sail! A sail!" With throats unslaked, with black lips baked, agape they heard me call. Gramercy they for joy did grin, and all at once their breath drew in, as they were drinking all. "See, see," I cried, "she tacks no more, hither to work us weal. Without a breeze, without a tide, she steadies with upright keel." The western wave was all aflame, the day was nigh well done. Almost upon the western wave rested the broad bright sun, when that strange shape drove suddenly betwixt us and the sun. And straight the sun was flecked with bars. Heaven's mother sent us grace, as if through a dungeon grate he peered with broad and burning face. Alas, thought I, and my heart beat loud, how fast she nears and nears. Are those her sails that glance in the sun like restless gossameres? Are those her ribs through which the sun did peer as through a grate? And is that woman all her crew? Is that a death? And are there two? Is death that woman's mate? Her lips were red, her looks were free, her locks were yellow as gold, her skin was white as leprosy. The nightmare, life and death was she, who thicks man's blood with cold. The naked hulk alongside came, and the twain were casting dice. "The game is done, I've won," quoth she, and whistles thrice. The sun's rim dips, the stars rush out, at one stride comes the dark, with far-heard whisper o'er the sea, off shot the spectre bark. We listened and looked sideways up. Fear at my heart, as at a cup my lifeblood seemed to sip. The stars were dim and thick the night. The steersman's face by his lamp gleamed white. From the sails the dew did drip, till clomb above the eastern bar the horned moon with one bright star within the nether tip. One after one, by the star-dogged moon, too quick for groan or sigh, each turned his face with a ghastly pang, and cursed me with his eye. 4 times 50 living men, and I heard nor sigh nor groan. With heavy thump, a lifeless lump, they dropped down one by one. The souls did from their bodies fly, they fled to bliss or woe, and every soul it passed me by, like the whiz of my crossbow.
Hello and welcome back to Call of Cthulhu Masks of Nyarlathotep. So, let us resume. I believe if I'm doing my math correctly, and by math I mean calendars, it is now February the 17th, which is a Tuesday, and the year is 1925. I gotta keep track of time for reasons that are important later. Anyway, yes, so as we established, the gang, you guys went back to London that previous evening. Professor Gainesborough, you settled your affairs. You got, kind of put things in order. Maybe got into, like, the smallest tiff with, like, the dean, of the chancellor over. It's like, you're leaving now? Just packing his fucking bags.
Look, I've given you 14 years of my life. It's time for... It's time for some me time, some Terrence time.
Oh, no.
What I want.
Terrence.
Oh, very well. I suppose I'll have to teach your class myself. Some passing student just goes, oh, God, no. Anyway, so cool. You're able to settle your affairs, hop on the earliest train from Cambridge to London, finding your way to the hotel where the investigators are currently staying, and reconvene with them at their modest but comfortable accommodations to discuss next steps. And anyone's welcome to talk now. Open, go.
Well, good afternoon, chaps.
Oh, I'm inherently delighted by Darby saying chaps. Yeah.
Like, I imagine him coming in like he's wearing like a, like I guess like a sun hat, but like a small, like he's in vacation mode. Like that feeling might fade quickly, but like he has left school after 14 years and he's wearing like one of those Luffy hats from One Piece. He's feeling fresh.
Straw hat?
Yeah, like a straw hat. He's feeling fresh and ready to go.
Got his suspenders on.
No
like-
longer under.
Yeah.
Stable reaches for the hat.
Nope.
No. Smacks hand.
Ow!
True. I
I
see
didn't
you.
even
You
smack
are.
it that hard.
I see you are experiencing the euphoria of leaving academia for a while.
I never thought it would feel this good.
It feels fantastic, really. God, fucking Christ. we've gone into. I had important, actual moving forward things to say, and now my friend. That's actually not important. The thing that pinged that I was thinking. Well, we did talk a lot about Penhu. We probably should deal with that. But for my sake, while we're walking, how tall is Terrence Gainesborough?
Oh yeah, good question. Yeah, I would say that he's tall enough for Sybil to just barely like reach his hat. Probably like a head shorter than James, something like that. Like he's thin, so he like from a distance he looks tall just because of the way he stands. Like
Tall
you look at
energy,
him and
yeah.
you think
Tall
tall
energy.
energy, but he's about like 5'9", 5'10", something like that.
James is 5'10".
Yeah,
So-
Oh my god.
This is the 1920s. We're all
You
short.
gotta remember, like 1920s subtracted by like fucking 5 inches.
Oh yeah, we'll say like 5'6".
6.
5'6".
5'5",
Yeah,
5'6".
5'6". Sounds good.
Sounds good to me.
Sorry, this is important for
Taller
me
than
to know.
And the rest of the chat too, so don't worry.
The chat was asking.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes. Fantastic. Yes.
We were going to go to the Penhew Foundation. I want to do some research today. Did anyone else have any thoughts immediate?
I am torn between my desire for research and my desire to check out a spooky club called the Blue Pyramid.
I
Well,
completely forgot.
on that same note, I'm no good for research. Well,
Mm,
not entirely true. Just not my kind of research. I'm not good for books, I should say.
yeah.
We need to know where we're going. I trust you all to figure that out. Otherwise, unless you need someone tailed, I'm basically useless. So, Sybil, that club?
Yeah, let's check out the club.
Sybil and James want to go check out
everyone's-
the Blue Pyramid this morning. Okay.
Yeah, if everyone's okay with that, I understand. It is worth considering. This could be a juju house situation, so we should be careful.
How does Tarrant feel hearing that?
Well, I suppose I've already stepped into the deep end, coming along with you lot. This is what I came for.
Oh, I should
So
fill you in then. The
Ooh.
juju house was a okay. So there was a place that sold
Hold
like
on.
fetishes, but also there was murders happening in the basement.
Oh my god.
Tarrant,
That's the most human fucking response. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Tarrant, do you have a gun?
No, I do not, Mr. O'Connell.
We're gonna have
Do
to
you want-
fix that.
Do you want to take mine?
Mason, how many guns do you have?
I have one.
I have 2. Would you like to... Do you need one? Let's put it. Let's be honest with you here. I understand that you just got because Sunil just realized what's going on. He's just like, wait. We need to slow down.
Okay.
Alright. So
So now you've spent too much time in my country.
so he's genuinely just like so. We currently do not have anyone trailing us, from our understanding. We were completely honest about that, completely transparent.
Mhm.
That said,
Very much so.
there is a possibility that things could get hairy. I do want to leave it up to you whether or not you would like to have something to protect yourself with.
Well, as much as I tend to loathe carrying a firearm, we are heading into dangerous territory, and my knowledge of literature and languages isn't going to help me in a fight against some awful beasts. So I suppose I'd better learn to shoot straight.
Do you
I-
know
I-
how to shoot straight?
Not at all, sir. I've never shot a gun in my life.
Are you better with a knife?
I'm better at filing my fingernails.
Finally, we have just somebody who's a normal person in the group who just like, never.
Whoa, hold on now. I have argued being normal man TM.
Normal in the context of somebody who's never picked up a weapon in their life. It's just like,
Hey,
Super easy.
My father once tried to
I'm
teach me
still-
fisticuffs, but he stopped shortly after my brother knocked me out.
Are you better with your hands than you are with a gun?
I'm pretty good
You
at
asked-
cooking.
I think he's asking what your brawl skill is. in
Oh.
comparison to-
I
would absolutely
fight
what I'm asking.
someone on a scale from 1 to 100.
I will confirm for everyone right now, Tarrant has base score in all fighting abilities.
Okay, thank you.
It doesn't matter.
That is the question.
Yeah. Yeah, he has.
I would say that I would prefer to have a gun on me. if
You would
it
prefer to
came-
have a gun on you.
If it came to violence, I don't think my fist would help me very much.
Tarrant
I'd
is
like to keep that motherfucking thing on me.
Tarrant's like a spray and pray kind of guy.
That's exactly what it is.
God, no. Sorry,
Go ahead
no.
and give him
It's
a gun.
you hang around these people. You stay around these people for 4 years and or less than that, really. And then suddenly you go from I'm a pacifist. I'd never to I have two, and it's just kind of God.
It's just important to be prepared.
To be fair, that's more an American thing than anything else.
Oh, we're infecting you.
Oh
This
Jesus!
is how you.
Anyway.
God.
Anyway.
So you're
Our
saying that-
freedom is a disease, you know.
So you're saying that I could go from being a pacifist to passing a fist through something awful?
I need you to understand that Sunil is looking at this man with the widest of eyes, like you are way cooler than you let on. Like he's just kind of like, oh God, I find out that this man that disappeared from the campus for a while went to Peru and did some fuck shit with some vampires. Now I'm finding out that he's totally lying.
University
Now I'm
can be
finding out
quite
he's-
constricting. Restrictive.
Where'd you learn to be such a
So-
fierce fighter? University bureaucracy.
So to sum it up, just so we're all on the same page, would you like a gun?
Yes, sir, I would like a gun.
He's got a gun.
So you give him a gun. We'll make sure you get another one.
God.
Yeah, because I guess this might be the final passing of Bosco's gun then, because if Sunil had to choose a shotgun.
Look at Bosco's gun get fucking tossed around like a fucking hot potato.
It's a souvenir. Now, don't
Like,
lose
hold it in
that.
both hands.
It's very important. Please don't lose it.
That's a memento right there from our time in Arizona.
You know where the safety is on that, right?
Is it this part?
It's the.
Oh,
it's
God,
the
thank
it's
You know,
the
you know
thing.
what?
No.
It's
It's the thing that flicks. It's on the side.
Yeah.
Wait,
Okay.
keep that for now.
Well,
While I
thank
am
you.
with you, I will have it. If we separate too far, then I will give it to you. Do not touch it aside from, putting it in. Just don't. Someone keep this at all times.
Hold on. Give me the fucking gun. It's like James really quickly.
No,
Just go-
split. Hold your actual gun. Good.
I was already gonna do this.
Good. Okay, cool.
James really quickly is just okay right here. This thing right here, that's the safety. Flick that up. It's not gonna fire. See how the trigger does not want to pull? See that?
Boom.
It's gonna pull.
No, I'm kidding. It is not fire.
Fucking bang.
I'm kidding.
the middle of London. Everyone
Right
turns
here?
around.
Yeah, I'm kidding.
Right here, there's a button. Look at that. Your magazine comes out. Goes right back in, just like that. You only have the one, has 7 bullets in it. Count your
Alright.
fucking bullets. The way to load it, pull this back. I'm not gonna load your fucking gun.
All right.
There you
Sybil
go.
over here just being like, "That's my husband."
My husband knows so much about things that kill people.
I love when he talks guns.
You're very lucky.
Finger off the trigger unless you're ready to fire, and you never point that thing at someone unless you're ready to shoot.
Always keep that shit pointed to the ground.
Never point at anything you wouldn't be willing to lose is the rule.
Yes, thank you.
Some paramount advice. Thank you, friends.
Please don't blow off your foot.
Now that we're done with gun safety,
I fucking gun safety with Tarrant Gainesborough is probably the I'm retconning. That's the episode of the title. It's no longer new friends, old friends and new foes. It is.
All right, change that right now.
Yeah, it's no longer old friends and new foes. It is now exclusively gun safety 101 with Professor Terrence Gainesborough.
I want to point out that people are saying in the chat, I want to get my gun right now so I can be a part of this lesson.
You guys have guns?
Of course they do. It's America.
They're called Cthulhu Watchers. Of course they have guns.
Yeah, they all have guns.
Anyway. So we
right. So we considered the Penhew Foundation, any sort of research, going to the club, going to the club. That is also the other thing. Did anyone else have anything that needed to be? Xander, can you hear me? God in the sky that I am speaking to. I'm not getting out of this voice. I'm just gonna ask you directly.
What's up?
Sir,
God.
you moved the inventory around so I didn't have to, right? Or did I need to move my inventory around when it came to the gun thing? I'm sorry.
I will put the gun information in Terrence's inventory, but go ahead and remove the gun from your inventory.
Thank you. That was going to just stay on my mind. Anyway, so Neil looks back at the party.
Oh, are you talking to God again?
Well, sometimes he responds. Anyway,
We are fully unraveling tonight. It is full chaos activate. I'm here for it. Anyway. So
Does he have as many
right.
God. Okay, so yeah.
So. I guess in that case, would you like to? I actually don't feel super comfortable splitting up. I guess no, not more than into two. Let me rephrase that. So from my assumption, that would be me, Professor Gainesborough, and Mason going to the Penhew and Kit going to the Penhew Foundation, or going to the library. That would be my understanding of the current situation. Unless you would like to split.
I mean, no, sounds good. Sybil and James to the Blue Pyramid Club, and then the rest of us to the Penhew Foundation. Yeah?
Yeah.
All right.
Sounds fine to me.
Works for me.
Sounds good.
Very cool.
It says cool 25 times. Anyway.
Cool. All right. So Sybil, James, you two are gonna go check out the Blue Pyramid Club.
Yep.
For the gang who's going to the Penhew Foundation, and Mason's with you too, because I know that Jordan, you said Mason wanted to go to the Penhew Foundation.
Yeah,
cool.
Mason's going.
Okay, I guess I'll ask the Penhew group first. How do you want to approach the Penhew Foundation? Like not necessarily even like physically, just in general. I want to hear what you're looking to do with the foundation, just so I can hear what you guys are wanting to do exactly, just so I know what to expect.
There would be interest in one, the artifacts, because we now are aware that that would be a good place to look for that. Two, the woman, what was her name?
Zara Shafiq.
Yes, Miss Shafiq. Any sort of questioning about that? God, there was more. There was more. I don't remember it. But those two things are.
It would have been the specific, the cult thing, Brotherhood of the Black Pharaoh. Look into that, as well as, I suppose, any other information it might be worth asking around if, well, what Jackson was looking into.
Yeah.
Because from what Barrington said, Gavigan was aware of Jackson and thought that he was not a reliable source, so any information we could get on that would be good too, as well as Carlisle adjacent things.
All of that.
Okay, cool. And your intention is just to go to the foundation, just like. I mean, like, yeah. You can access. I mean, there's a number of ways to get to the foundation. It's over in it's like central London. So I mean, you can get there by car, by bus, by metro. So you have multiple ways. So I'm basically just asking you guys are just your goal is James and Sybil splitting off. You guys are just gonna head straight to the Penhew Foundation, just establishing that that's what you want to do.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
cool.
Yeah.
All right, cool. You guys sit out. Let's first address Sybil and James. Let's go with you guys very first. Let me flip the pages of my book and notes. Okay. So, Sybil and James, you guys, following the information from Inspector Barrington, find your way to the neighborhood of Soho here in London, walking through an area that offers many cheap eating houses and coffee shops. You know, you pass by a place called the Moorish Cafe, the Algerian. It seems to be a locale that's very fashionable to intellectuals. And a fair number of pubs and non-advertised brothels, which probably are not very legal. So, fun to note. But you find your way at 12B Meard Street. There is a series. There is a building, essentially, that is on where the address of the Blue Pyramid Club is. There is like a green grocer's shop on the first floor, and then like a neighboring building. And what is like advertised as the Blue Pyramid Club, there is a door open the street level that, just looking through, you can see that there is like a stairwell beyond, but the signage does say like the Blue Pyramid Club, and it lists the hours of operation as 6 p.m. to 1 a.m. every night of the week. So
Not open very early then. That's unfortunate.
Explore Soho?
Explore Soho. See if we can get any news about it from the people around here. Might as well.
Or at least, you know, enjoy a bit of our time in England.
Cool. So you guys are just gonna go explore Soho and the surrounding environs for a little bit.
I'm gonna explore Soho, but also Sybil is gonna be asking a bit about, like, you know, sort of like, you know, what sort of people, you know, I've heard about this club. Can you tell me about it? I am new to the area and I'm very curious about the nightlife here, so.
Yeah, totally. I'll say that, just kind of asking about the nightlife, asking about the Blue Pyramid Club, just kind of, that's your line of questioning.
Yeah, asking about the nightlife, what things are like there, you know, if anything interesting has been happening lately. You know how it is. I'm from out of town, and I'm just out here to see the sights, see if there's anything interesting. I'm very curious.
Totally. Then
also rich.
I'll tell you that it's pretty easy to get like general information about the Blue Pyramid Club just by asking around the neighborhood and just, you know, just seeing what's going on here. You would learn that it is a members club. It is frequented by a vast majority of Egyptian, you know, nationals, but, you know, there are also, you know, white Europeans also are members of the club as well. Very much a, as the name implies, very much a heavily Egyptian kind of themed establishment. But I mean, you hear that, like, it's a good place to meet. You know, it's got drinks, there's entertainment there. Attracts, like I said, a mix of Egyptian nationals and English bohemian types. Kind of a noisy and crowded place, but as long as unless you're a guest of one of the members, you can probably, get your way in, either by having the money to, become a member for a small fee, essentially. So it's like, you hear that's like, yeah, it's members only, but like, I mean, you can get in if you're a guest or, so yeah, you find some information as you're just kind of like walking around and exploring the area. I'll cut back to you guys in a bit, actually. So let's cut over to the Penhew Foundation. So, the lot of you make your way into central London on Tottenham Court Road near the intersection of Morwell and Bailey, north of Oxford, of course, and west of the British Museum. You find yourself to this high Victorian building, about 2 stories tall, of fewer stories and greater ceiling height than the buildings to either side, and altogether grander in scale. You can see that there is a huge iron fence that surrounds the foundation building at the front. And presumably there is a back rear access, that would be accessible through like another street or alleyway. There is a gated little like walkway. It's like alley, I guess you could say, that would give access to the back around the building that's situated next to. It seems to be I believe it is locked. But you can see that there are stairs that lead directly up to the double doors, and in a busy part of London, so you are welcome to enter. Nothing seems to be blocking your path, and you can actually see that there are hours of operation listed for the Penhew Foundation. It says that the establishment is open from 8:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. So you are within operating hours, so just show up here.
Nice.
Say approaching the building, Terrence just stops and looks up at the grand building and takes in a deep breath, like, Aubrey, you are dearly missed. This nostalgic pondering.
For sure. You guys walk your way up, going through the front door. The Penhew Foundation, I mean, obviously there's a doorman station here in the front door as you guys step inside. But right off the bat, the interior of the building, the appointments inside are like very opulent. There is a desk immediately just inside the entry where an administrator is currently seated. And there are like two little wings off to the side, little waiting rooms, where visiting scholars are kind of like hanging out for the moment, waiting to be seen, and just, stairs that lead up to a second floor and a corridor with many, many doors. All the foundation seems to be bustling with librarians, specialists, folk who work for the foundation, visiting scholars, archaeologists, and so on, all just kind of moving through the building. But as you all enter, the administrator at the front desk looks up to the group and just goes, "May I help you?"
Yes, we were, why did I say something first? Why did I say something? No. Yeah, no, we were, looking for, he looks up behind him. I believe
We're here to see
Gavigan, yes, director?
Do
Director
you,
Gavigan?
do you have an appointment?
Not an immediate one, no. How would I go about, dealing with such a situation?
Well, you'll need to speak with Director Gavigan's secretary, Thomas Kinnery. Typically, sort of affairs are handled over the phone, though I'm sure you could certainly inquire, though I wouldn't get your hopes up. Mr. Gavigan is a very busy man. He doesn't truly like drop-ins. But like I said, if you're looking to speak to Kinnery about a possible appointment, the administrator turns around and points down like the corridor immediately behind him. First door on your right there is you'll find Kinnery. You may inquire with him there.
Understandable. Thank you very much. Sunil, at this point, kind of looks at everybody else with if you want to try to argue this, you can. He's gonna go try to get an actual appointment set up. But it's two plans. If we can get in faster, we get in faster. If we can't,
Yeah.
do what you
I
got.
would say Terrence nods and like that. Yes, let's go speak to Mr. Kinnery. Like this is a good plan. Kind of nod. Like
Yeah. So Sunil, as he is wont to do, traipses over to Kinnery.
Yeah, and is it just, you said it was just Sunil and Gainesborough who are going over there?
That depends on what everyone else wants to do.
That's why I'm...
Sorry.
Kit is more than happy to wait in the waiting area, so unless
Sure.
Mason wants to do something.
While we're at the Penhew Foundation, are we able to? Is there like a library here that we can use?
Would you like to
So
ask?
maybe? I don't have any library check shit.
Well, I'm saying, would you like to
can
ask?
still
If there...
ask for the
No, I'm saying, like, you're asking if there's a library here. I'm asking if you'd like to ask if there is a library here.
Yeah. Mason will ask if there is a library.
The administrator there says, yes, the Foundation does have a library concerning Egyptian matters. It is available only for visiting scholars and those who, well, if you're looking to access the libraries, you may provide a reasonable donation of £10, and that does grant 12 months access to the facilities for one person each.
Excuse me, Mr. Mason is with me. I'm a professor of Cambridge.
Yes,
Yes,
I see. And from what I understand, neither of you are members of the Foundation, and you are more than welcome to peruse the libraries with a donation. But of course, you may take that up with Mr. Kinnery and indeed Mr. Gavigan should you secure that meeting.
It is £10, right? You said £10?
£10, which is the equivalent of $50.
You two go on ahead and get that sorted out. And Kit will. I presume we've exchanged for local currency at this point.
Yeah.
So,
by the way,
yeah.
We went through all that trouble of looking up the conversion rates last time when the fucking book itself has a chapter at the beginning being like £5 equals, $5 US equals £1 in this time period. So
I've read not that particular book before, some of the COC stuff, and I was like, they typically cover that kind of thing in the book.
Yeah, I just missed it entirely. So now we know the conversion rate. So yeah, you guys have gone through the process of getting your money converted. Mason over here getting low-key sassed by the administrator at the desk.
Yeah, Kit would happily, pass over some money to get us library access, just so they have something to fucking do.
It's per person, so that would be $50 per person.
Okay, yeah, Kit could afford one of us. If you can spot it $20, then, that's two of us figured out.
How much money does Tarrant have? If the conversion rate is in his favor, he could just
let's see. Look
get
up
them all in.
Yeah, look on your your possessions tab. You have $40 on you at the moment.
Oh, so not even enough for a
little
single
short.
admission. Could it be 40 euros? Because then it could be way more. Nah.
Understandable.
All right.
It's
Sorry,
12
chaps.
months accents. It's really to. Sunil kind of looks at Kit. He's just like, Kit. What we could do is we could, instead of you paying for one person, we can kind of split that, and then I just feel as though this would be a thing that I'd be useful doing, so we could just pool together for one of us, if possible.
Yeah. No, that's a good idea. How about we'll wait in the lobby until you figure out the whole thing.
Right.
Itinerary. Yeah.
Gotta actually set up an appointment. Understandable. Mm-hmm.
We'll be here.
All right. Well, that's being arranged. Tarrant, Sunil, and you guys go down the hallway, pass by a couple of offices to the first door on the right. You can see that it is marked with, as the waiting room for the office of Director Edward Gavigan. Opening inside, a small, narrow room, plenty of seating for a waiting area, and also a desk where seated behind it is a gentleman of small frame in a pinstripe suit, pointed nose, angular-looking features, altogether a weaselly kind of man, on a desk laden with just kind of papers. Immediately looks up and just goes, "Yes, may I help you?"
Hello. You're and he says his name because I genuinely
Thomas
just went out.
Kinnery, that's right.
Yes. You're Mr. Kinnery. I was told that I would need to speak to you about setting up an appointment with a certain Mr. Gavigan.
Yes, I am Mr. Gavigan's personal secretary. Typically, we expect such appointments to be made over the phone, but certainly I could write down that you are looking to secure one. Might I ask your name, your reasoning, and purpose of a proposed meeting with the director? He's a very busy gentleman.
Yes, Terrence Gainesborough. I was Sir Aubrey Pinu was a mentor of sorts of mine. I don't know the director personally, but we would like to pay our respects, so to speak, and who better to do that than to the director of this fine establishment.
I see. He turns his attention to you, Sunil, for a second. Is that the sole purpose of this meeting? He seems to be lightly taking down notes on this. Or are there other matters at hand that you'd like to discuss?
we're also here to God, I fucking hate talking. Why did I do? No, God, no. We recently spoke to an Inspector James Barrington about some goings-ons, and we wanted to we needed to look into some various. I'm going to, you know what? I'm gonna summarize because I can't.
You're welcome to do that. You are welcome to do that, dude. That is
basically
always
Sunil is kind of like, hey, the name of this foundation has come up several times. We have some artifacts that need to be looked at. We need to figure out like what's going on with that kind of thing. We also like we also have heard about contact with a certain Zara Shafiq, et cetera, et cetera. We've basically been like, there's a lot of things going on right now that you changed the music.
Yeah,
there are a lot of things
I
going.
realized that it was very intense, so I'm just gonna let it be more mellow.
Okay.
Continue.
There are a lot of things going on right now that are heavily related to the foundation that need to be spoken about. If we were to just that.
Yeah, and I feel like you'd say that, and Thomas Kennery would respond something along the lines of, I see. It seems altogether rather beating around the bush. Is there a particular matter specifically that you wish to inquire with the Foundation? As I said, the director is a very busy man overseeing a lot of matters here. So basically, I'm asking you, like, truly how much detail, I mean, beyond just saying Zara Shafiq, all these things, how much other detail are you going into? Like, are you mentioning by name the Brotherhood, Jackson Elias, any beliefs you've come to have about the Carlisle expedition? Or are you mostly just trying to keep it on the down low of being like, we have a lot of interest, we have some artifacts we'd like him to look at? As you said, are you sticking to your guns of being vague, or are you gonna dive a little more?
It seems like being vague isn't getting us anywhere.
Yeah, no. The thing is, I was being direct when I said that.
Okay, well, so I'm more so okay. Then I'm more so clarifying if you are being more specific with other points.
Understandable.
Just so I'm aware of how much you're telling them.
If I may, for a second, we've said before that Gavigan doesn't exactly have like a very high opinion of Jackson.
Yeah, I wasn't going to mention Jackson for that particular reason.
Yeah.
Okay.
But like Jackson's name probably will not be dropped in the sake of trying to actually get to speak to this man because you know, I do. Okay, this is me asking the table. Because we've mentioned Barrington, would we mention that there needs to be some looking into these cult-related murders and or like basically Egyptian bullshit related murders?
I'd say so.
Yeah, I'd say so.
It kind of brings an air of authority to it for sure, but because we're a group of kind of ragtags of different professions, we don't really have a central authority to draw from. But I mean, it's worth a shot.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, how authority can we be without like directly impersonating the police?
Yeah.
Yeah. It just kind of up to Thomas here to.
Well, we've already name dropped Barrington, so that already gives us the sense of we are with the police.
It's one of those things where it's just like giving off the air of, hey, like we're looking into this for a reason. It's not really just like a passing kind of like, we are looking into this for a reason. Those reasons being that like there's shit going on.
Totally. Yeah. I get the gist. Well, Kennery just says, I see. I will pass your message along to the director. I cannot guarantee a meeting will be secured. He is terribly busy. Is there a method of which I might be able to contact you should an appointment be set up?
We're stationed at this hotel, right? Or whatever it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Kennery takes that a little dully and just goes, yes, well, I'll let you know. Please, you may see yourselves out.
Thank you for your time.
While that's going on, back in the entry hall, Did you guys decide how you're handling if you're gonna buy access to the library here at the Foundation?
I mean, we were waiting until Sunil and Taryn came back since they were
Okay.
the people who actually
Yeah.
did the research.
Sure. So Sunil and Tarrant, after several minutes, come back out of the office and walk back down the corridor into the entry hall.
Well, any luck?
So, they gave us the very vague, yeah, we'll talk to him thing, and you know how that tends to go. So,
Right.
not the best endeavor, but at least our name's on the table. Anything going on out here?
The walls look very nice. Other than that, no.
They are very nice walls.
Nothing of particular interest, but yeah, other than the fees to get into their archives. We were sort of considering going in on that, but between the two of us, kid sort of looks at Mason and looks at himself. We're not exactly the bookworm type.
Well, if you three are willing, we could pool our resources, and I could possibly go in there and do some research on this, on the hieroglyphs of this Egyptian staff that you have in your possession.
Yeah, I'd be willing to pool in some money to get you and Sunil in there. So.
All right.
Let me look at my character sheet, see how much money I have.
Would 10 per person be manageable?
Well, there's 4 of us, and we need.
I will provide the other
50.
20.
Oh.
My spending level is in fact 10, and I have 56 on. Oh, I have 56 on me. I could.
So my
do
spending
that.
level is 2, my cash is 30, and then my assets is.
Oh, I don't know
what
if
I
it's
ended up getting
possible if
from
everyone's spending
Peru.
level is that low. Like
Spending
mine's
level,
10.
no.
So what spending level means essentially is just like that is the amount of money that if you spend below that, you don't have to do any like bookkeeping with your money. It's like once you're spending over that, then you begin deducting from your cash. So yeah. While all
Okay,
this
yeah,
debate
I
is
can-
while this debate
I
is
can do
going on regarding funds and such and arranging these things, the door to the corridor actually opens up again, and Thomas Kinnery like pokes his head out and sees that y'all are still just hanging out in the entryway. Calls down, Mr. Pandey, Mr. Gainesborough.
Yes, sir.
Aye, sir.
Director Gavigan can pencil you in at this moment if you'd like.
Oh.
That sounds fantastic. Thank you very much. So good.
Where is the director located, sir?
Come back into my office. Just gestures you back down the corridor. And you may bring your...
Yeah, we just keep yelling across the circle.
Oh.
You're getting so many annoyed glances from
Let
like
us go.
scholars and administrators.
Let's go, Bruce.
Yeah, it's like
go,
and
Brian.
Kinnery says, yes, you may bring your comrades as well. Gestures for you to follow Kinnery into his office. Let's cut back over to Kristen, was I just about to catch you go BRB?
I'm fine.
Okay, cool. I want to cut back over to James and Sybil. I know Split's not currently here. All right.
Yeah, we can contincontinue for a bit. If you need
Troublesome.
to.
Yeah, I'll cover. We'll continue with the back of the Pennu Foundation. You may go BRB, Kristen. Okay.
I was gonna have when the guy said companions. Oh no, he said comrades. Mason was gonna get really excited and look at Kit and he's like, "We're comrades. Yeah, we're comrades."
Jesus.
Yes, we are.
I love Mason's unbridled enthusiasm for just basic language. I love it.
My unbridled enthusiasm. Oh, Kristen's gone, and then we got split right after.
It's fine. So the lot of you are escorted into the little waiting room where Kinnery's desk is set up. You are asked to just take a seat and just wait. Kinnery just says, Mr. Gavigan, we'll see you shortly. Just wait here for the moment. And just sits back down at his desk and just starts going through letters, shuffling papers. And you guys are just kind of sat there waiting for a bit. After a few minutes, the office door that is addressed as belonging to Director Edward Gavigan opens up. And stepping out is a slim, superbly dressed English gentleman, balding hair, manicured nails, clean shaven, steps out with a smile. You all stand to greet him, and he goes like one by one to shake your hands and goes, Edward Gavigan, director, please, pleasure to meet you, pleasure to meet you. Shall we converse in my office? I understand that this meeting is all very last moment, and, well, I'm happy to take your questions, whatever you want. I do have some time before this noon. You see that he pulls back his sleeve to show like a very expensive-looking wristwatch, which, by the way, in the 1920s, that's new, so that is definitely an indication of wealth. So that is like, yes, I have some time before noon. Smiles, gestures into his office. Shall we?
Fine watch, sir. Yes. Let's.
Thank you. It's a gift. Escorts you all into his office and close the door behind him. And now that they're both here, I'm gonna jump back over to our friends over in Soho. I'm gonna change the music again. Hold on. So, yep.
Sorry, I did want to ask, and this is purely because like I'm curious, was he humble bragging? Or like, oh, it's a gift, and like he actually bought it, or is he just like, oh yeah, it's a gift?
Wouldn't you like to know, wristwatch boy?
You can tell a lot about a person with how they
very
flaunt
true.
their
It
feathers.
was very he had that very like charming, graceful way of just being like, oh, this is a gift. Not in like that. It was like a humble brag, but not in like the smarmy way of being like, oh yes, this was a gift. It's nothing at all. Yeah, don't worry about it. It's not like a guy just being like, it's my Tesla, don't worry about it. It very much just a guy who's being like, oh, it's a gift. So
Like it had a air of thankfulness to it.
Yeah, and everything like that's just kind of like charm and grace. But back
like,
over.
please don't consider this to me.
Exactly.
Like, yeah.
Okay.
To Sybil and James very quickly. In your expeditions, I'll call them, around Soho. Interestingly enough, I'd say that Sybil strikes me as a for lack of a better word, a block pacer. Somebody who really likes to loop around a place multiple times to make sure she saw everything.
Absolutely, yes.
Because speaking as somebody who lived in New York City, sometimes you think you know everything that's on a block, even if you live there for a year, and sometimes you discover things that weren't there before. So you do some circling. But one establishment that is actually just around the corner from the Blue Pyramid Club, very, very close, approximately almost on the same block, just a little bit down the side street, over on, sorry, one moment, over on, Warder Street, over, very close by, the Blue Pyramid Club. You find there's a spice shop over there, a 2-story building that is labeled as Empire Spices. It smells fucking enchanting.
Well, I mean, we have to check out this spice shop.
We are looking for a spice merchant.
We are. So I guess we're gonna check out the spice shop.
Okay, yeah, walking up, you can see that the shop hours are 9 to 5, so, it is currently open.
Oh, it's actually open.
Yeah, you guys are here actually on time. Yeah, there is a front door to the shop. Next to the building is a little like side alley passage, but that's blocked off by like a wooden gate that is just shuttered. Yeah, sorry, just one second. Double check my notes. You guys walk inside into Empire Spices, into a room that is immediately a myriad of pleasant smells confront you. Spices and herbs line the walls, and large jars or drawers, all of them labeled with their contents, from cardamom, there's, cumin, there's also, and even exotic spices from kind of all corners of the globe, just laid out in this large display room. There are a couple of people around here currently perusing the spice wares, sampling and getting things packed up and ready to go. A mix of people who look like, just by look alone, people who are scrutinizingly, professionally trying to pick out spices, and just, the person who's like, ooh, this sounds like it'll be exotic tonight, just getting a pouch of some saffron or something. All these white Europeans who are just like, mayonnaise, that sounds spicy. I will never miss an opportunity to dunk on Europeans. Anyway, but situated behind the main counter in this place, Sybil, I would say that this affects both of you, but I'm going to primarily underline you. You ever just see a beautiful woman and your breath leaves you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So standing behind the counter is a slender woman, clearly of Arabic descent. Long dark hair, piercingly bright and enchanting green eyes. Very much has this great regal beauty to her, dressed elegantly in black, who is just stationed behind the counter. Just looks up in your direction and just gives the faintest wisp of a smile, nods her head in your direction, but otherwise relegates herself to just standing in the back, seemingly to only interact with people when they approach her for purchases or otherwise.
Well, oh boy. Well, we were looking for a spice dealer, as you said.
Mm-hmm. James kind of feigns a bit of interest. I say feign, but at the same time, he's going around these spices thinking, it's been a while since I've made a good stew. Basically, before going off to look at all the different spices, leaving her alone to do whatever it is she is going to do.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
letting you take the lead this time.
Oh no. Okay, sure.
Oh, we're forcing
no.
Kristen to talk to the pretty lady. Hell yeah.
Why? Why are you making me talk to the pretty lady?
Because you like pretty ladies.
I know, I stumble every time.
Should I talk to the pretty lady?
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Oh no, she's not.
Oh, you just saw her?
Yeah, I glanced at the stream and I was like, oh fuck. God.
Do you need me to talk to the
No,
pretty lady?
I can talk. I'm just trying to figure out what to go over.
No, yeah, sure. Take your time. Feel free to just go over in your head.
Let me think. Okay, glancing at the notes with my, relegated 4 clicks I'm allowed.
The daily 4 clicks.
The daily
Ooh,
four
the daily
mouse-
4 clicks is the name of my ska band. Swish.
Fucked up.
Nothing but net on that one, baby.
No, you bricked it at most.
Okay, so she's a spice dealer. She worked at the Penhue Foundation in the past. She recognizes the name of the fuck, what's the name of the Brotherhood of the Black Pharaoh? But she doesn't think they still existed. Frequent in the Blue Pyramid Club. I guess. Well,
Now remember, that is if this particular woman is in fact the spice dealer we're looking for.
what are the odds that she's not?
Kristen's over here like, she has NPC art split. Like,
She has NPC art.
That's metagaming.
Can you fucking imagine we approach an NPC? Hey, do you know anything about this? No, I'm just a spice dealer. Cool.
What if she's just the cashier?
Have you heard of the High Elves? Well, the finest prices in all of Cyrodiil, guaranteed.
What if she's just the cashier where she's just manning the desk?
God.
You never know.
Uh,
I'm here to keep us all fucking thinking on every ounce of galaxy.
every ounce of galaxy. God. You said you wanted spice for a stew?
Currently picking that out, hon.
Okay. I just figured I'd ask. I'm trying to get a lead in here. Come on.
I'm going to take the executive control right now and say that while you two are having this like whispered horse, like I'm trying to take lead, you hear a voice kind of just off to the side, just say, "Need any help?" And you turn around, and you see that the woman is standing right next to you, little curious smile on her face as she regards you with a slight head tilt.
Yes.
Oh, Americans. I don't get many of those through these parts.
Yes, we're doing some traveling in the neighborhood. Stop! You're
Well.
making faces at me.
I don't
Well.
know what you're talking about.
Welcome to Empire Spices. I am Zahra Shafiq. I am the owner. If there's anything you need to find, I'd be more than happy to accommodate.
We've been looking around the area. Actually, we actually came here because we'd heard, down the pipeline as we're new to the area, we'd heard about the Blue Pyramid Club, and we heard it was interesting. But this may come as a real shock, but it turns out clubs are not open at glances at non-existent watch 2 p.m.
No, they are very much tend to not be. The Blue Pyramid opens more for the nightlife of Soho. I frequent the establishment myself. It is noisy and fun, but a plenty good time.
Oh, well, I'm glad to hear it.
Don't mind my wife. She gets a bit nervous in front of, how should I say, prettier women.
Nervous? Why would you ever get nervous around little old me? I am flattered, of course. What was your name? And if you are married, might I congratulate the both of you?
I'm Sybil Cordova, and this is my husband, James.
A pleasure to make your acquaintance, Mr. Cordova.
O'Connell.
There you go. There it is.
Oh, God.
Forgive me. I forgive my assumption. Mr. O'Connell.
James.
James, this is not what's going through his head, but me over here just being like, James having the moment of being like, she called me Mr. Cordova, but she's hot. I'm angry that I'm not super mad about this. God.
No,
He's mad about it. He's 100% mad about it. That's
He's 100% mad about it, but it's not a man. So he can't punch them in the face.
To be fair, she introduced herself as Sybil Cordova and then introduced you as just James, which is safe to assume that like she might have thought that.
Don't worry, he's already thinking about it.
Yeah.
It's like these are thoughts all running through his fucking head.
Sounds like he's giving himself a headache processing this. Oh, I want to punch her, but I can't.
Yeah. He just. Nice to meet you, miss. And he holds out a hand.
As I said, Shafiq, Zahra Shafiq. Well, if there's anything you need help finding, do not be a stranger to ask.
Well.
And perhaps she looks over at you, Sybil, and she goes, if you're planning on frequenting the Blue Pyramid, perhaps I will see you and your husband there one of these nights.
Well, we would definitely be interested. Well, since we're around, since we're not from around here, I suppose we should ask, if there's anything interesting that's been happening around these parts. I'm a seeker of, the interesting stories, the exciting.
Interesting? What do you mean? You'll have to forgive me. I am not a native English speaker. I do not pick up on the nuances of meaning as easily as you may.
Fair enough. My wife is a frequenter of the macabre.
Is that right? The macabre. Yes, I am familiar with this word. You'll have to forgive me. I know very few establishments in Soho, particularly that cater to more occult affairs. It's a little out of my wheelhouse.
I think that's why she's so interested in the Blue Pyramid, just because of the name alone, honestly.
I understand, and I take no offense to the implication you are leaping to. The Blue Pyramid is a lovely establishment, do not get me wrong. It is a wonderful club and plenty of entertainment to be seen, but its name, it simply is a club. It is nothing occult about it. It caters more towards those who hail from Egypt, such as myself.
James gives like a small chuckle to that, and it's just like, yeah, I apologize. You have to forgive us. We're from the United States. We're not very familiar with.
It is quite all right. I do understand. But I apologize that I cannot be more help in that regard. Anything else that I might be able to help with?
Actually, yes.
Oh?
What do you think would go in a more experimental pork stew?
Well, I have a few recommendations. And she begins to like show you around the shop and gestures to some like various like little spices and offerings and suggestions too that would complement a pork stew.
And he's gonna pick them up.
Hell yeah.
We're purchasing today.
Cool. Give her the money. She bundles up your spices for you in lovely little containers, hands them off. And she says, I think you'll find those to be most palatable and certainly not quite too spicy. They have a little bit of a robust kick to them, but nothing that will cause any individual to sweat or burn at the mouth.
Oh, thank. No, I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna say thank God. He's saying this out loud.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say thank God. Sorry. We visited some Indian
friends and they had
recently.
delightful curry.
There is a palpable expression on Zada's face as she just immediately just goes, just and fully understands what it is you are inferring to as she looks over and sees individuals of a more Caucasian palate.
Sybil
Palette.
He thanks her with a very genuine smile. Like the majority of the time, James puts on very wry shit.
Mm-hmm.
But he's happy with his spices.
Oh, you said that so cute. I'm affected so deeply. Oh, I love that. Oh, that's so wholesome.
Make a pork stew.
James is gonna make a... Oh.
Yeah. If he can, if he's allowed to a kitchen, James is happy with his spices. He gives her a smile and he says to her directly, I hope to see you possibly tonight.
Zara says, perhaps you will. Perhaps you will. Well, I bid you all a good day, and do not be a stranger. You are welcome to come in anytime. And You guys step out of there. All right, jumping back to the meeting over at the Penny Foundation. So the lot of you guys, you're escorted into the office of Edward Gavigan. One moment. Let me get my notes transitioned over to this page again. So Gavigan's office is extremely fabulous. This is a man of significant wealth and academic interest. One moment. It is this magnificent wood paneled office, kept clear of clutter, desk free of paperwork. Apart from a row of closets along the north wall, the rest of the wood paneled walls are kept bare except for a couple of large oil paintings, one of the Egyptian pyramids, the other a view of the Nile. Can I get everyone to roll a spot hidden check really quickly?
All right.
Yeah, baby.
James, I would recommend that you don't make that pork stew for that lady, because if she is an Egyptian national, she's most likely a Muslim.
She actually did make. I didn't say in the moment, but actually, yeah, she would when she would have been shopping around, she would have been like, I don't eat this myself, but I have enough restaurant and chef clientele that come in here that I know how to accommodate those sort of meats and flavors. So
yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
That's kind of what I figured.
Yeah,
that
100%.
She gets those questions a lot of the time.
Exactly. You get it.
He did preface he's from the United States.
He
Right,
did, yeah,
right.
yeah, 100%.
I'm ignorant. I'm from the U.S.
Yeah, exactly. When you guys step into the office, all of you succeeded. Very nice. All of you clock that over in in one corner of Gavigan's office, there is a modern safe that's been built into the floor with its door slightly ajar, that catches your eye. But Gavigan just kind of steps in and goes, oh yes, please, plenty of chairs, have a seat, you're welcome. For once, an office that has chairs for multiple people.
I was gonna say, so how many? I'm sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
Kit stands.
Kit stands out of habit. Yes, you're correct.
God. But Gavigan says, well, please have a seat. Turns, goes to his own desk, sits down, but stops and sees that this safe is open. He goes, oh, sorry, terribly embarrassing. One moment, walks over across the room, shuts the door. One can never be too careful. Sorry about that. Sits back down on his desk. Yes, so, now, forgive me if I am incorrect in this. He looks over at you, Darby. He says, are you Professor Terrence Gainesborough from Cambridge?
Yes, sir, I am.
Well, while we have not met personally yet, first of all, the honor is mine. I will say I read your publication some months ago on modern archaeological dig techniques being utilized on the Giza Plateau. I thought it was a simply wonderful piece you wrote.
Sir, I am simply astounded.
Yes.
I don't hear enough of that from my own colleagues, so forgive me.
No,
If I seem a little starstruck.
Oh, no, not at all.
Thank you so
I
much.
will admit, I found a lot of what you are writing about to simply be very interesting take on more careful procedures being taken, not just in the archaeological studies of things that are being dug up on the plateau, but methods of utilizing these techniques for native hiring. Looks at the rest of the group. I apologize. I do not mean to go at length here. Perhaps, I'm not sure how often you get out of Cambridge, but if you ever finding yourself looking to enlist with an Egyptian expedition, I'm certainly able to add you to the list. We organize a great deal and sponsor, from arranging permits to overseeing schedules. I'd be more than happy to put you on the list sometime.
Oh, you know, sir, I've been looking forward to an expedition in Egypt for a very, very long time.
Is that right?
Unfortunately, the closest I have at hand right now is an artifact, and we could certainly use your direct help, Director.
Yes, my
some of the hieroglyphs of this specific artifact. But I would be most honored to have you on an expedition in Egypt once I get back to Cambridge.
Oh, yes, of course. I will take down your contact information before we leave today, and I will happily be in touch for any future plans. You must forgive me. He looks at the rest of you and just says, I tend to go on at length regarding matters such as anything related to Egypt. The pleasure is all mine. Welcome to the Penhew Foundation. Yes, my secretary mentioned that you had some artifact of potential interest I might want to look at, but also a number of things were taken down that I only caught a brief glance at. Might I ask what it is all that you're looking to speak with me about?
Well, it is quite serious, Director. Mr. Sullivan.
Kid sort of like perks up a little bit as though he wasn't expecting to be the one to be called forward to talk, but I mean, sure, I guess we're doing this, huh? He sort of clears his throat a little bit. Yes, thank you, Director Gavigan. Thank you.
He kind of goes, you're American.
Yes, sir.
Wonderful to make your acquaintance. Dr. Sullivan, was it?
Yes, that would be correct.
I see. Which of you are coming from overseas? Kind of like looks at the lot of you in here.
That would be myself and Mr. Allen.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Allen. He shakes your hand once again, Mason.
Mason
I see.
shakes back.
Well, aren't you a rather young and charming fellow yourself, aren't you? So,
Well, thank you.
what brings a professor of archaeology from Cambridge, two Americans, and it looks at you, Sunil. My secretary said you were a researcher?
Yes, I am a researcher of pharmacology and herpetology.
What? Oh, herpetology. I've always been interested in snakes, but only at a passing glance. I know many colleagues who take particular interest in that field, so I'm sure that you're doing quite well for yourself. So, what brings you here to the Penhew Foundation today, Dr. Sullivan and company?
Kid sort of like looks to everyone else, sort of does a little head incline as okay, I guess I'm going for it.
Got this.
Well, we are actually following a number of different leads, some of which from a personal friend of ours, and some others a little more, well, to be quite frank, a close friend of ours. We heard that he was in contact with the Penhew Foundation, a certain author by the name of Jackson Elias.
Jackson Elias. Jackson Elias. Yes, I do recall that gentleman coming in here, not but 2 months ago now, something like that. I believe I have it here in my address book, yes. Oh, he set up an appointment, spoke to me concerning Sir Aubrey's participation in the terribly ill-fated Carlisle expedition. How is Mr. Elias faring?
He's no longer with us, unfortunately. Kit says very bluntly, as Kit is wont to do.
Yeah.
Oh, my dearest condolences, my friend. That is... I'm terribly sorry to hear that.
It's tragic.
Yes, that is a terrible tragedy. He seemed like a wonderful man. I met with him just the once, when he arranged an appointment to discuss the work of the Foundation. He said he was collecting background research on the Foundation's involvement in supporting the Carlisle expedition. I was pleased to talk about the Foundation's role in grant funding and assistance in arranging travel permits and the like. But the meeting was quite short. I bid Mr. Elias good day, and I never heard from him again until this office just now. What does his meeting with me be attached to, if I might ask?
He was doing a good amount of research into a book he was planning on writing, something to do with the, as you mentioned, ill-fated Carlisle expedition.
Yes.
And as is,
forgive me, he holds up a hand. Forgive me. I always felt it would have been more apt to have been named the Penhew expedition, as it did concern Sir Aubrey's work, but as Mr. Carlyle did pay most of the lion's share of funding, the name went to him. He kind of like looks at the group. Can anyone here name who built and designed the Great Pyramids?
Hey, Xander, can I make a roll for this? I'm joking.
Can I make a roll for that?
Mason, you want to just make like a straight education roll? Just sure, because the gumption in your voice.
Hey, if we're making education rolls.
Are we making
Fuck yeah.
education
Hold on.
rolls?
I want to see.
Nice.
Can I take a guess at Pharaoh Tutankhamun?
That would
Does
be
that count?
incorrect, and you lose your
Okay.
fucking certification as an archaeologist. No, I'm kidding. Mason, because you had a regular success on this, and just I say this not to be mean, but you are you. You are Mason Allen, and so this is like one of those
For
things where
some
it's
reason,
like,
he just knows certain things.
No. I'm gonna tell you this. It's like one of those things where it's like you don't like necessarily like pin down exactly like, yeah, I know exactly. It's like, well, I remember knowing that the pyramids are like XYZ old. Wasn't like the pharaoh like Cheops or something? That's what comes to your mind.
Well, yeah. In that case, Mason kind of says that, but he frames it like a question, like Pharaoh Chaos.
Most would say Cheops, but Cheops simply paid the bill. The real designer was the royal architect Hemin, if you catch my point.
Oh, same situation.
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
As it is one. Yeah.
yes, all the same. Yes, so I take it you're here of interest then into matters regarding the ill-fated expedition?
Yes, among other things.
Is there anything in particular you would like to know?
Sorry, you're gonna have to give me a moment.
No worries.
Out of character to percolate.
We could call on someone else if you like.
Yeah, I mean, he's always welcome.
Mr. Mason.
Yeah, Mr. Mason, have anything you want to bring up?
You'll also have to give me a moment.
No worries.
That's
If you
all
can't
good.
think of
It's
anything
all good.
specifically, you can just ask
Just trying
Gavigan
give
to be
people
like,
equal time.
just what do you have to say about the expedition? Like, what are your thoughts on?
Okay, first off, actually, while we're I'm sorry, I
Yeah.
genuinely was not actually expecting to get an audience today, so I did. But since we're on the stake of the expedition, and my player is buffering for time for everyone else to figure out what. Can you?
Wow, are you filibustering my own fucking game?
Please tell us more about the Carlisle expedition, good sir.
Well, I'm sure most of what is there to be said has been publicized in the press some 5 years ago now, but I was always not necessarily the biggest fan of the direction the expedition was going in from the start. From my understanding, the late young Mr. Carlyle obtained his information that led to the expedition's formation through an African woman concerning a period of shadowy Egyptian history that Sir Aubrey always took an interest in. In fact, it was largely the subject of his life's work. In this ancient time, a sorcerer was reputed to have ruled the Nile Valley. Alas, and Gavin kind of gives like a small smile, the information proved to be a hoax. In Egypt, the African woman disappeared with the expedition's ready funds, some in the amount of 3,500 British pounds. We are gentlemen of the world, are we not? Carlyle counted the lost money as insignificant, but he was deeply affected by the defection of his African lover. Fearing the heat and disappointment of Egypt would seriously affect her health as well as the young Mr. Carlyle's, Hypatia Masters, the expedition's photographer, perhaps you've read of her,
Yes.
suggested that the group take an extended sojourn during the summer months in the relatively cool Kenyan uplands, giving her a chance to photograph some wonderful African wildlife utilizing some new lenses. You have to understand, I was in extensive contact with the expedition all along the way, so I know much of their travel. Unfortunately, though, once there, the the expedition injudiciously entered dubious territory, and alas, paid for it with their lives. The vast share of the records were lost during this incident, as Sir Aubrey, a consummate man who had enjoyed working on his craft, took them along during the vacation to study, while matters were still fresh in his mind. Wherever he is, there they are, he says, and just kind of like sighs and closes. But that is largely all I have to say on the matters of the expedition. Beyond that is everything else is highly publicized, and I'm sure that if you're here, two of you coming all the way from America, you've done a fair amount of research already into the pertinent details. I do apologize. I wish I had more to say on the matter.
Oh no, you've actually said plenty. Yes.
Out of character, would get the impression, because he specifically said that he was in extensive contact the entire expedition.
Mm-hmm.
Does it seem like he's keeping things behind?
Make a psychology roll.
Sure.
You don't get that impression. You don't get the impression that he's hiding anything whatsoever. Edward Gavigan has a lot of charm and natural ease and grace that it is hard to get a read off of him, but so you're not picking up on anything like that. I mean, certainly the thought has crossed your mind. You're welcome to ask him if he does have any of those correspondence available. Like,
yeah, that would have been my next angle.
Yeah.
I just wanted to get that sort of like gut check feeling on that.
Mhm.
You mentioned that you were in extensive contact with them. Do you have any of those records or correspondence available?
Gavigan nods slightly and says, why, yes, of course, but most of the correspondences I shared with Sir Aubrey largely concerned the young Master Carlyle. It would be, as you understand, unethical to show these documents to outsiders. They are private matters unrelated to the work of the expedition. I'm sure you would agree that they are not something I could tolerate getting into the gutter press.
I would ask, actually, at that point, and I'm debating on whether I should say this out loud as Sunil or ask the rest of the players. Do you think that mentioning has Roger's sister seen any of these?
Erica?
Yeah, because we have contact with Erica. So
Yeah, I'd say that would be a worthwhile angle to go off of, especially because like that was an angle that Kit went off of previously in New York, where it was like, hey, my adoptive daughter was close to this family and she is looking for closure, so that sort of thing.
I will keep in mind that it genuinely did ping Sunil's brain to be like, oh wait, has Erica seen Erica, Roger's sister?
Mm-hmm.
How aware is she of?
Yes, I am familiar with Miss Carlyle. We've only met the briefest of times. She and I were in brief communication when she went to Kenya to help aid the search team for the remains of the expedition. We've spoken idly, of course. She, if I recall correctly, did not entirely wish to subject herself to other opinions on the mental state of the late Mr. Carlyle, especially when she had her own opinions on the matter. She largely did not want to indulge how he was in his final days. But I'm afraid that is the extent of that. I will say, though, during their time alive, the expedition did accomplish a number of wonderful feats. They did turn up some interesting artifacts from other periods, and they were able to dig a number of test trenches to help continue Sir Aubrey's systematic study of Dashur. They also found some secondary sites in the waste to the west of Giza. Now, some of the artifacts were loaned to the British Museum, while a few others are up here. Now, most of the items are being catalogued by the Egyptian Museum in Cairo, but I'd be more than happy to show off some of the lesser miracles that were brought back to England and we have here in our very own exhibit hall. He kind of like stands and like does a button again. Shall we walk the hall?
Please.
That would be amazing, sir.
Of course. Please, come right this way. And Edward Gavigan will escort you out of his office and up into the second floor of the Penhew Foundation to show you some of the exhibitions of Egyptian artifacts they have on display. And we will end there for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. So, join us next week, same time, same place, for the continued unfolding adventures of Call of Cthulhu, Masks of Nyarlathotep. Thank you for joining us, Darby, tonight. It's so fucking awesome to have you playing with us for the next little while, and I am very intrigued to see what transpires next on this harrowing adventure. So, until next time, ladies and gentlemen, Cthulhu Fatagan.